Hey everyone, it's Derek Hunter with another process video from ChooseYourComicAdventure.com. Today I want to go through my process of drawing a page from the sketch phase and layout phase on to inking. Okay, so my first step in the process, which doesn't really translate well to the video, is to look at the page, figure out how many panels each page is supposed to have, and how much action should be given in those panels. So right now that's what I'm doing. I figured out my panel spacing, and now I'm going to go in and start sketching. Alright, so the first thing I do is I start a layer, double click on it, and give it a color overlay. I usually start with orange. It doesn't really matter, obviously. My main focus here is to keep things organized. What I like to do is when I have a part of a drawing, a part of a sketch, a part of a layout that I like, I'll start a new layer and start drawing its foreground or background elements in a different color. That way I can keep things separated, so if I don't like the new thing that I'm drawing on top of the thing that I've already established is working, then I can go ahead and delete it without compromising what I've already drawn. You'll see I do this with the tree in the background and the bushes right there in purple. I can come back and move that character, shrink it, scale it up, and you'll see I do that later. Same with this character in purple. I'm moving it all around, and that tree in the background stays right where it is. As much as I do miss working traditionally and love putting pen down to paper, the amount of time that I save by working digitally just can't be ignored. I'm able to spend less time on a comic page and get the same results in my mind. So now it looks like I'm pretty much done with the sketching phase, and I'm going to go in and start my inks. Again, I work all in separate layers. I keep things very separated, so these panel borders are all drawn on their own layer. Then I start a new layer and I start drawing the main character. So I have a hero layer, or this character's name is Ren, so I have a layer just for Ren. And it looks like I've already broken that rule. I've started drawing the tree. Generally, I'll keep things separated, usually by character, sometimes just by foreground and background. And that comes into play more in the later coloring phase than it does in the drawing phase itself. So I'll be able to go in and add some like little halos and some gradients behind characters between them and the background to kind of pop them out. But we'll talk about that in future videos. You can see that as I'm inking, I'm using a lot of the eraser tool. I'm undoing things a lot. And that's just because I've basically skipped the penciling phase. I find that when I ink right on top of my rough sketches, I'm able to maintain some of that loose quality that I did in my layouts and some of the just energetic nature. Obviously, if you want things to be a little bit tighter, if you want things to be a little bit more composed, then spend an extra time on a penciling layer or just more time on your roughs. Here's another reason that I like working on separate layers, and is really an advantage that you have working digitally, is I've drawn this head on a different layer just because I wasn't sure what angle I wanted her head to be at or how far cocked back I wanted it to be. Working on a separate layer means I can just have the body right where it is and move the head around and adjust the hair and stuff without destroying what I've already drawn. So here I'm just going in and I've actually, again, on a different layer, and drawing all the tree elements in. So this wise tree character has a glowing mouth. So right here I've actually started a new layer called Glowing Mouth, or Tree Glow Mouth. And I want to draw it on a separate layer as a character, so when I go into coloring, I can add some glowing elements, some heat elements or whatever, that I can separate him from her. So I put it on a separate layer. Alright, drawing the leg about 50 times. One of the things about digital is your sketching becomes your inks. And any of you out there who draw comics, or draw anything for that matter, know how frustrating it is when you capture something perfectly in the sketching phase and you just can't capture it again in the penciling or in the inking. Again, another reason I love working digitally is that I don't really run into that problem as much anymore. So anyways, there you have it. It's a page from the Sorcerer's Apprentice's Apprentice on ChooseYourComicAdventure.com from the layout all the way to the inking phase. I hope you enjoyed watching, and come on back, make sure to subscribe so that you can see how I go from inks to color.